I talk a lot about prison on social media. So I get comments all the time, both from people in the world as well as on social media saying, man, you need to put that prison stuff behind you. You need to be done with it. I think a lot of people don't realize that just because I talk about it on videos, I don't spend the entirety of my life thinking about or talking about prison. Today, I was thinking about making brownies or taking care of this adorable dog that's behind me or being in this amazing house while I'm dog sitting. My life is very full, and what I found is prison content gives people hope and gives people meaning. Because I connect all the time with people who have loved ones who are incarcerated, or people who have been incarcerated and are now out, or people who have contraband cell phones while they're in prison and they're looking for a path forward. And I'm looking to share my experience in the hopes that it will give someone a step up, that they'll have an idea of what to do, they'll have some sense of inspiration, they'll have some sense of what a path forward looks like. Because a lot of the time, people don't have that. I know I didn't have that for a long time, and I did have encouragement. There are a lot of people who don't have family, who don't have encouragement, and don't have support, and it's very unlikely that they're gonna succeed. They just face all these barriers, and often the biggest barriers are on the inside. They're not believing in oneself, not believing these things are possible, not having seen it. Just like kids I work with in the juvenile center, all the time they'll tell me like, yeah, college is great, but it's not people like me, because they haven't seen people from their neighborhood go to college. They've seen other people or wealthy people or people who don't look like them. So often it's showing someone who has been in that place, who has sat in that seat, do the things that they hope to do and realize that it's possible. Again, just because I do that, just because I go back in and speak at prisons, because I run a nonprofit with prison reentry, doesn't mean that's what I spend all my time and energy on. Like my current job is program director for the local restorative justice program. If you don't know, restorative justice is a different way of looking at the justice system or the legal system. Basically, we get referrals from court that give us the opportunity to put the power back in the hands of those who've been harmed or those who've been most directly affected by a crime. Say somebody steals money from you. Well, we can stick that person in jail or stick that person in prison and you don't get your money back. Or we can say, okay, what do you need? Let's prepare you, let's prepare that person. If everybody is amenable, let's sit down. And if this person is willing to step into accountability, have them talk about their experience, but more importantly, have them listen to yours. You talk about what it meant when you lost that money, how you maybe couldn't pay your rent or you're worried about providing for your children, what that did to you. Because what happens then is people connect on a human level and realize like, oh my God, I really did make an impact. This was not a good thing. This wasn't just a faceless person that I stole from. Because so often there's no connection between the harm and the consequence. But when we provide that and we say, hey, as part of the amends, you need to pay this money back. You need to do something to make this right. Then all of a sudden everybody comes out with a higher satisfaction rate than in a traditional criminal legal system. Because again, if somebody stole money from you and the outcome is that like you just watch them go to jail and like leave their family behind and not do anything better and often not get better because our justice system or our prison system does not really help people, like that's not gonna make you feel better. The goal is to put power back in the hands of those people who need it most, those people who've been directly affected. Let me tell you, having facilitated cases, especially like really big, impactful cases, it's an amazing experience to see someone really and truly step into accountability and to see someone step into the power of saying, hey, this is what happened and this wasn't okay and this is what I need and this is what I want. That is empowering, that is life-changing, it's awesome, and I love that role. It's also to some degree a management role. So I'm working on my management skills and some other things that I haven't dealt with as much in the past. There's also a lot of admin work, and that was really difficult in the beginning. But now that I'm on ADHD meds, it's life-changing. Because my entire life, it's been like I had a symphony of discordant, crazy music just going in my head, all these voices all the time. And now when I sit down with a bunch of admin tasks, I can just hear one voice or one thing. I can focus on that one thing, and then I can move on to the next. It's not like manic energy. I think people think, oh, you take ADHD meds and you're just full of it. It's like, no, it's actually calmer. I can take it and I can rest. I can take a nap. Because for my entire life, I wake up and first thing in the morning, my heart is racing and I feel like there are things I have to do. I feel like I have to get to it. I have to go do these things. Now I can take my meds and be like, cool, let me lay in bed. Let me read a book. Let me focus on this one thing right in front of me. Because especially since I've gotten out of prison, but again, for my entire life, I've always felt driven and moving forward and running at 1,000 miles an hour and being able to slow down and be like, you know what? Today I'm gonna do this, especially with admin work. It has helped so much. So my life is full of a lot of new things. I'm also trying to navigate relationships, both like personal relationships in general and intimate relationships. Because you have to remember, for 19 years, I had intimate relationships via the mail or via visitation, but not the actual experience of like living with people or spending time with people or experiencing physical intimacy. Now, I had lost my virginity when I was very young in a very unhealthy situation, but that's a different story. So I'm relearning all those things. So in a lot of ways, I'm like somebody in my 20s, and there's a lot to learn and a lot to explore. I'm also really excited because I'm getting back able to travel. Back when I ripped my arm off, like, yeah, I kind of thought it was over. I drove to Florida the next week because I'm crazy. But I'm realizing, you know what, I still have opportunities and I have a lot of things in the future. I have a really big trip planned for September, something I have never done before, something I'm incredibly stoked about, something I never thought I could do. Because even after, I've been off probation for a year now, but I still keep looking over my shoulder every time I go to an airport or every time I, cross state lines. I'm like, am I allowed to do this? Do I have to check with somebody? Because I got conditioned to do that both while I was in prison and when I was out on probation. So I'm trying to really step in to the fact that I can go do things. I don't need permission. I don't need to look over my shoulder. It's a really kind of radical thing. This trip that I'm so excited about is one of the first times that I'm really just investing in myself and indulging. This is not a responsible decision from a financial perspective, but I'm doing something I always wanted to do, but never felt like I had permission to do. So I'm going to Europe. Apparently I'm going all around Europe. And I mean, we're gonna stay in cheap hostels. It's gonna be like a kind of like bounce experience. It's definitely not gonna be like a luxury Four Seasons thing, but I've always wanted to go. And I'm really excited because I now get to go to a place that I've only read about or seen pictures of or seen on TV or in a movie and actually be there. And there's something about those old buildings and just architecture in general and old cities, it just feels amazing to me. So my life is really full. It's really busy. It's really kind of crazy. I put the weight vest on. I got it sitting here right next to me because one of the things that bothers me after this accident, and I went from being in incredible shape. Like when I got out of prison, I could run a sub 6-minute mile. I could clean and jerk 225. Like I was strong. Now I'm not. Now I'm not in great shape and I can't even I'm not even supposed to do a whole lot with my arm. I'm waiting to get cleared to even start doing PT, no less lifting weights. So I'm not in the shape that I was in. So I just throw the weight vest on and walk around the house or throw the weight vest on and take Ruby for a walk, the amazing dog that I'm dog sitting. But it's still an adjustment to the fact that I can't do everything I wanted to do and I have to get used to it. But I make the best of it. Throw the weight vest on, go get some food. I prep cooked a whole bunch of food this week. So I've got protein noodles and chicken and that way I get to save money. That way I can save money and afford to do things like go to Europe and basically invest in myself in ways that I never thought were possible. I'm also navigating what does it look like to publish a book? Because everybody said, look, man, if you just trust a publisher, like it won't go that well because they have PR people. But if I do my own PR, well, then there's some chance that I'll be able to sell more books. I'll be able to establish myself as a subject matter expert. I'll be able to do whatever. I have all these opportunities and I don't know what that looks like. But what I've realized is if I just follow the path of least resistance or the path that's right in front of me, yeah, that can be okay. But that was what I learned to do in prison. I basically just did that when I first got out of prison. I had some great accomplishments, but it was really just following what was right in front of me. So now I'm asking myself, like, what do I want to do? Well, I don't want to be in a 9-to-5 job for the rest of my life. I want to be in a place where I'm flexible. I want to be in a place where I can have an impact, where I can see that impact, where I can work directly with people. So I now have a speakers bureau. I'm looking at doing PR for the book. I'm hoping the book does well and looking at all the opportunities that could come out of that. And really, I want to live good life. I want to help people be free, whether that's physically free, that's mentally free, that's spiritually free. And I want to make sure that at the end of the day, I feel good about what I'm doing, good about what I'm living, because I think it's easy to get caught up in like wanting to have a bunch of money or wanting to be successful in a traditional way. But what I want is at the end of the day to know I've done something meaningful, I've had an impact, and to feel good about myself. And that doesn't feel like a lot. Now, who knows? Maybe everybody does that, but I don't think so because I watch people in the rat race, like this neighborhood that I'm staying in. I'm watching people get up super early in the morning and go to work. I'm watching people like stress over money. I'm watching people do all these things and realizing that's not the life that I want. Who knows? Maybe one day I do want a family and kids. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But what I want to know is, again, am I living the life that's according to my values, that's according to the way I want to be, and am I having a positive impact on the world? So really, instead of just prison, like that's what I'm thinking about most of the time, or that's what I'm thinking about less now that I'm on ADHD meds and I can just be and not always be thinking. Let me tell you seriously, ADHD meds are almost like the same experience of being like deep in meditation or consistent regular meditation. The problem with meditation was I couldn't always take that mindset off the pillow. Like when I sat there for an extended session or for a retreat, yeah, it was great. But as soon as I got back in the world, it kind of went away and the noise and the craziness started. Whereas now, the combination of the two allows her to be more peace and more presence and more just being with one thing. So in my life these days, that's the one thing that I'm with. Like, how do I live my best life? How do I have a positive impact on the people around me? How do I make the best connections and best relationships I can? And how do I know that when this is all over, I've done the best I could. I've lived the best life I could, because that's the only metric that really matters.